people go on about the contamination, and as you can see, there's housing development on there now. They're building a new Tesco supermarket at the top end. There was a potential to still may happen. There's still a lot of argument about putting a school on the site, and that has still got to be resolved. And it's a very emotive thing that's happening, and there's a lot of people wish to have the school put on the steelworks site. Yeah. The biggest problem with the steelworks site was slag. There was a phenomenal amount of slag from the old slag heaps, and the problem with slag is that it's very porous, it's unstable, and what happens is that's the reason they're having to dig down and take this slag out, because in the wet weather it'll expand, and the dry weather will contract, and the ground will keep moving all the time. So it isn't so much contamination, it's more because the slag was never really removed from the site. It was just used as a levelling off substance and topped off. And that's what the problem is. It's not. There is certain sites, without doubt, there is contamination on, but they wouldn't spend all the money like Tesco is to stabilise the land. Barrett's is doing all the houses. You can see they've started to build on the second stage of that. And I'm sure there'll be more development comes on that. But it's just, be used for industrial, I think it'll be very, very difficult to get any industrial use on there now. The concert is, I would say, needs a better infrastructure linked up to the main A1 and the other trunk roads that would make it easier for transport.
I was going to say, even at the closure time, I mean, the transport links are quite good now, but at the closure time, the transport links were almost non-existent there. And I suppose at the time we were starting to compete with other areas that needed redevelopment elsewhere in the country, and Concert isn't probably going to be your #1 prime location for easy links to any part of the UK, let alone Europe or abroad. And certainly, obviously, a lot of the industry that came here came when the grants were attached to it. If you're trying to draw industry into a place without significant grants, you're going to be looking at the old phrase location is your #1 consideration. I mean, I've got a colleague who's just relocated out of Matlock to Alfreton because it's 5 minutes drive from the main A1 for his transport links, and it's going to cut his transport bill down by around 50%. Now, we're always going to have that problem with the location of Concert. The steelworks were here because of a reason, because of the coal and the iron ore, and that's the only reason it was placed here. If those two commodities hadn't been here, the steelworks probably would never have been based in this location.
As we're talking, we're always talking about the problems. You know, we've got the problems on the Genesis site of contamination. We never talk about solutions. You ever notice that? You know, why don't we tackle the solution and then we can go forward instead of talking about the problems all the time?
I think the solutions right from day one have been created. You know, the new industry did come in here. The current house building did come in, and I think it's perhaps a generational thing. I mean, I don't see Concert as having many problems. Yes, we'd love more employment, we'd love a better town centre. But I mean, I've lived down south and I've worked between here and London, and certainly given the choice of anywhere in the country at the moment, with my time of life, Concert is probably the best place of any of the 10 different places I've lived to be. A lot of that's about the people. You go to London and you sit in the tube and you don't talk to anybody for an hour. But certainly, I think my generation don't see Concert in the context of a lost steel town. They see Concert as it is now. And certainly my kids who are 12, 15, 18 see Concert as a very nice place to be. And the difference is they travel. You know, their mobility is far superior than mine ever was.
40-year-olds don't know what was on Genesis site unless they see a photograph of it. And I think it's a matter of... I took a series of photographs off the bottom of Front Street, panned right across the company, and the son-in-law, he's in his 40s now. He's originated from Houston, Pelton, and he'd never ever seen Concert Iron Company, and he came up to Concert when he was in his 20s to work on #1, where it was gone. And he just, you know, and when I started showing him the old photographs, he's actually went out, we joined the 3 photographs together, so you got a big panoramic strip. He's got one, I've got one, a couple of my mates have got one, you know, and we've got them framed and put them up. But he also got some of the old company photographs, the old offices and well, not Jackie, and then he's got to strip down that side of the new one, the company when it's shut, and the old works down there, which is the company's all been remodelled. I mean, the Tin Mill Road, starting from the offices of the doorway of the offices, going off into the distance. Well, it wasn't there when we were working there. You know, how it had changed and the likes of that. But as I'm saying, it's just completely different. And as you say, young'uns today, you've seen the company, young'uns today haven't a clue what it is. They don't know what history's involved. I'm a big advocate, to me, of when the council, when the new estate, the building down at Genesis Way, housing estate, I think they should call it Steel Village. They're going to call it Bury Edge. I thought, how original, we've already got one. If that's called Steel Village, it's right on top of the steel works. And I thought, that's memento to what Concert is. It's a steel town. Not now, but that's what it was built on. And I think they should, anything relating to the history of Concert, particularly the steel works, should be used for naming, except around here, streets, whatever it is. Anything new should come under the company banner, as I would call it.
Well, I'm very proud of working there, and Andrew's been to my house, and you've seen I've got two big photographs of the steel, aerial photographs of the steelwork, and they're in
Did he get
right as soon as you come in the door, everyone asks, was that the steelworks?
Yeah.
And Andrew, you looked at them and explained to you how big that site was. 648 acres of steelworks site. It was a phenomenal size, and at its peak, 8,000 were working there. When I was an apprentice, it was 8,000.
7,500 when I started.
Yeah. The old cliche is, how many people work at the steelworks? And the other one says about 25%.